yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
It's
Shalom.
good to see you, whether you are on Zoom, Facebook, or YouTube. We are glad you are here to celebrate Shabbat with us. We start our service with bringing light into our lives, into our homes, into our sanctuary. And so if you have Shabbat candles that you can light, I invite you to do so. We will light them here in our sanctuary. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. Our service continues on page 130 with Lechu Neranena.
Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nari al tzur yishenu, nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot, nari alo nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot, nari alo. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim niflotav. Yalai, 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 yalai,
We sing praise to God with all the instruments of our hearts, those we can hold in our hands, those that come out of our mouths. Zamru l'Adonai, page 134.
זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור וכל זמרה, בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני. ירם הים ומנו, תבל ויושביה, הידי נהרות ימחו כף, אב יחד הרים ירננו. לפני אדוני קיווה, ישפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים. ירם הים ומנו, תבל ויושביה, הידי נהרות ימחו כף, יחד הרים ירננו, כף יחד הרים ירננו.
We continue with Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid, page 136.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים אדוני, אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון, וסיריון כמו ונעמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול יעלות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד, אומר כבוד, אומר כבוד, כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. את עמו, את עמו, את עמו ושלום.
We come to Lecha Dodi, our song welcoming Shabbat as if she were a bride, 25 hours of wedding. And we think about the different stages of welcoming a bride into a wedding and into a marriage, and think about that entrance, how beautiful it is to transition from the time of space into the time of sacred time. And so we turn to page 138 For Lecha Dodi, I invite you to rise as we enter the last verse, which starts with Bo'i v'Shalom.
Lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamar v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Shemo letiferet velitila. Lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki hi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תגלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי. בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עירת הילה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha dodi לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Shabbat Shalom once again. Welcome to our Shabbat celebration. If you are on Zoom, I invite you to look at the box to your left and say Shabbat Shalom. And if you're turning to the right, say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Now you can reach out to the boxes on either side, shake a hand virtually,
High five.
high five, fist bump, elbow bump, however that works for you. We are so glad you are here. You can write a Shabbat Shalom into the chat box, whatever platform you are on. So we continue one more psalm before we enter our Mariv service. Psalm 92, page 140, Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון בכינור צדיק כתמר יפרח כארז בלבנון יזכה שתולים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינובון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולת בו.
And we divide our Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming Shabbat, with our Mariv service with Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה
Amen.
בעלמדי ורח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בהמה ואמרו Amen.
We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 146.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
You may be seated. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
Amen.
As we think about the expanse of the stars, we think about how in Torah God promised Abraham that he and his successors would be as expansive as the stars in the sky. Only one who loves infinitely can make that kind of a promise. And with Ahavat Olam, we envision that promise that God made to Abraham and to all of us. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Amen.
Amen. We turn to the Shema, the statement of oneness, acknowledging that God is separate from anything that ever did or will exist. Page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We continue on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם נאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת, באמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו ובסגולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously. Michamocha, page 158.
מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אלי די מלכותך, ראו בנך, בוקע ים לפני משה מרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, עוז אלינו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Blessed are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai, O God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. We continue with Vishamru on page 162. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את הארץ. וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי, שבת וינפש.
We turn to the Tefillah, the Amidah, starting on page 164. I invite you to rise if you are able. We will do this silently after the introductory blessing.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid, ufi yagid, tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Yiu l'ratzoni mrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen.
Amen.
May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and all who inhabit the earth. Amen.
Amen.
We add the words of the Mishaberach to our prayers, a prayer for thanksgiving, for good health, a blessing for those in need of renewed health. There is somebody whose name you wish to bring into our community, I invite you to write their names into the chat box so that they may be known. We join together with the Mishaberach, page 371.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We wish all those in need of healing, whether in body or spirit, those who suffer from addictions, those in mourning, anyone who needs healing. We wish to all a refuah shlema, a speedy and complete recovery, to which we say Amen. Shabbat Shalom once again. You can never say it too many times, right? I have a question. Have you ever gone back to a house where you previously lived and walked through the rooms that now are occupied by another family? It's kind of a strange feeling, but I've had that feeling, and it's amazing to go back, open the closet that had the marks of how you grew, or see your old room. It's just part of your life's journey. Or maybe you went back to your old elementary school and you stood on the playground and saw the jungle gym, or went into a classroom and somehow those desks don't fit the way they used to. The smells, the furniture, the memories of teachers and classmates who became lifelong friends seem to become anchors in our life's book. Or the visitors and time spent that made your home come alive. Those can bring back memories of family and friends. When recounting various events in my life story, there are definite chapters and many milestones. Elementary, junior, and high school, college number 1, number 2, number 3, rabbinical school, and the apartment or home lived in with my parents, then roommate, and eventually spouse. Each of those stops along the road have been marked by memorable occasions, by symbolic signposts which became altars. And I imagine if you think over your years, your journey is much the same. As linear time condenses or collapses over the course of our lives, we realize the grounding force of memory as important in these experiences of our life's journey. In this week's Torah portion, which is a double one, Matot Maseh, we find a list of places along the Israelites' journey from the Egyptian bondage toward their promised homeland. The itinerary lists the stops, but leaves out the memories. And our commentators try to fill in the story for the reader by referencing other parts of the Tanakh. The 13th century rabbi Nachmanides unpacks Numbers 33:14, which tells us that the Israelites camped at Rephidim. And you may remember that because that was the place that had no water. He reminds us that at Rephidim the people were thirsty and they quarreled with Moses and with God, calling that place Massah and Meribah, trying and strife, before miraculously getting water out of a rock. It was there, too, that the Israelites were attacked by the Amalekites. 4 verses later, we read that the Israelites camped at a place called Ritmah. Rashi explains that it was here that the spies shared their pessimistic view on conquering the land of Israel. And just a few verses later, time passes quickly in the Torah lists a place called Iyeh HaAvarim, a name, according to Rashi, that denotes waste places and heaps of rubbish. All in all, there are 42 stages in their journey outlined in our Torah. It is easy to downplay all the little moments that make us who we are. We like to act as if life is linear, predictably moving toward a given destination along a predetermined path. Yet, the Israelite journey from slavery to the land of Israel reminds us that there are many chapters that shape who we become. It is not just the signposts that become altars, but it is the significance of stopping at that place that makes it memorable. The Baal Shem Tov, the great Hasidic master, teaches that the many stages of the Israelite journey not only apply to the Israelites as a whole, but to each and every one of us. He says, all the 42 journeys of the children of Israel will occur to each individual between the time they are born and the time they will die. These 42 stages remind us that life often leads us down an unpredictable and often circuitous path. Sometimes we fail in ways that inflict moral injury and pull us to an unimaginable low. In other moments, we reach heights that soar past our wildest imagination. Most of the time, we forget to find holiness in the mundane steps of our journey, or to offer gratitude for whichever stage we find ourselves in. Towards the end of this week's Parsha, the Israelites are instructed, "You shall not defile the land in which you live, in which I myself abide, for I, Adonai, abide among the Israelite people." No matter where the Israelites found themselves in their journey, God remained. The Midrash Sifrei Bamidbar teaches that even when the Israelites were unclean, God's presence remained among them. In other words, God's holy presence remained amongst the Israelites during their basest behavior and their best. As we end the book of Numbers this week, we will utter the words said at the end of each of the 5 books of Moses. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and be strengthened. When constructing our journey's map, may we seek out the places and the people who will strengthen us to find what enriches us. May we learn from our successes and our mistakes. In looking ahead, let us be strong so that we can build a great future for ourselves, both as individuals and as a community. For when the community is strong, it gives strength to the individuals that mold it. Our Kehila Kadosha, our holy community known as Temple Beth Tikvah, is a beacon of strength. Even as we began today the Hebrew month of Av, the saddest day in which we remember the destruction of the temples in Jerusalem and so many other sad occasions. We hold each other in friendship, in love, and in peace. May we find holiness in the places and the people who form our life's journey from this time forth and in the future. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Our service continues on page 586 with the Aleinu. I invite you to rise if you are able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גאולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
You may be seated. We now take a moment to remember those whose time on earth has ended, those we bring into our hearts with our own, those who have died in recent days, and those whose time is more distant. I invite you to put into the chat box any names that you would like for us to share. And in addition to those, we remember those who are observing a Yortzeit this week. We remember Jennifer Marks, Fred Lair, Ruth Hirsch, Ann Schenkman, Ada Barnhard, Sylvia Fritz, Jerry Amsterdam, Barbara Subeck, Lena Cohen, Morris Cohen, Harry Goldman, Howard Miller, Minnie Reisig, Suzanne Edelman, Dror Greenfield, Howard Shabsis, George Goldman, and Paul Friedman. Are there names for us to mention that were in the chat box?
Jonathan Kazin, Randy Sostock, Joan Friedman, and Paul Friedman.
I am also remembering Jonathan Kaysen.
For those mentioned aloud, for those whose names we hold in our heart, if it is your custom to rise for the Kaddish, I invite you to do so now as we join the mourners on page 598.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא תברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
May the one who sends peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. We say amen. A couple of reminders as we enter this Shabbat. Torah study will be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., followed by services at 10 o'clock, either in person or live streamed. Next Shabbat, Friday night, we will be having an in-person service, an in-service program.
Right.
An in-person, let's try that again, an
Take a deep breath.
in-person service. You're welcome to join online as usual.
And why are we in person?
We are welcoming Rabbi Marcia Tilchin, and we look forward to seeing you. We will have name tags available, and we will have a special oneg after our service featuring wine and cheese and ice cream. I think we're having ice cream floats, in fact.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm there.
And so we look forward to welcoming you and celebrating in person or online. And then look out this week. There will be some information about our Tisha B'Av observance, which will take place a week from this Sunday. And it will be on Zoom. There will be parts that are in person. We are going to be joining the Orange County Jewish Collaborative for many different varieties of events throughout the 24 hours, which is a fast day, and as I mentioned earlier, a day in which we observe many calamities that happened in our Jewish history, including the destruction of the first and second temples. So we hope you will join us. August is a very busy month here.
So busy.
And we hope you will join us in person or otherwise for all that we have going on. So much for sleepy summer days. There is no such thing at TBT. So we now join Gabrielle on page 122, I believe,
Yes.
for
Kiddush.
starting with Vayachulu.
ויערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
And we conclude our service with Shalom Rav. Oh, you're going to change your mind.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
You convinced me. So we're going to actually end our service with Ki Yashmera Shabbat.
There you go.
If you have a Siddur with you, it's found on the bottom of page 129. Ki Yashmera Shabbat en yishmereni. Ki Yashmera Shabbat en yishmereni. Oti le'omer beno u'beni. Oti le'omer beno u'beni. Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
Shalom. Have
Thank
a
you so
great
much for joining
Shabbat.
us.